In the winter of 1811, deep in the coal-black valleys of Yorkshire, England, a child named Thomas Elridge entered the world quietly, without celebration, without hope, and without the warmth every newborn deserves. His arrival wasn't announced with joy, but with worry. His father, Samuel Elridge, was a coal miner with lungs hardened from dust and a body carved by labor. Life was a constant battle, not a blessing. Their stone house cracked with cold. Wind crawled through the walls like a thief. Nights were long, dark, and hungry. But this was normal for families living near the mines. Thomas grew up watching his father leave before sunrise, coughing into a cloth already blackened with soot. Sometimes Samuel didn't return for hours after sunset, shoulders slumped, eyes empty. Every day the mine took something from him: air, strength, time, eventually life. When Thomas was 10, the mine collapsed during a night shift. Only 2 bodies were brought out. One belonged to his father. That night, Thomas didn't cry. He sat near the dying fire, staring at the only boots his father left behind. In those boots lay the story of a man who gave everything to survive, and still lost. The next day, Thomas became the man of the house. Childhood ended. "Thomas," his mother whispered with trembling voice, "we don't have enough to eat. You must work." So he went. He worked, not because he wanted to earn, but because he had no other choice. He pushed coal carts through narrow tunnels with boys older and stronger than him. The air was so thick with dust it tasted like metal. Every breath burned. Men cursed at him. Supervisors shouted. His hands bled from gripping frozen iron. But Thomas never stopped. Each push of the cart became a promise whispered inside him. "I will not die in this mine." Others accepted this life. Thomas refused. At 14, his first spark of ambition ignited. Every day, miners complained about their tools. Pickaxes bent. Hammers broke. Lanterns blew out. Coal bags tore apart. Workers cursed their bad luck. But Thomas observed quietly. The mine wasn't failing because of labor. It was failing because the tools were poorly made. That small realization struck him like lightning. He didn't have the language to explain it, but he knew something important. If the tools were better, everyone's life would improve. That night, he asked his mother, "Did father ever fix tools?" She sighed. "Your father was strong, Thomas." But he was never taught the skill. Thomas nodded, but he felt something different inside, like a calling. At 17, after saving pennies for years, he bought a rusted hammer and a cracked anvil from an old blacksmith retiring due to arthritis. He placed them behind his house under a small wooden shed. The villagers laughed. "Thomas, a blacksmith? He's just a miner's boy. He'll never learn that trade." But laughter never stopped a determined heart. Every evening after work, Thomas lit a small fire and practiced striking metal. Sparks flew. Mistakes burned him. Tools fell apart in his hands. But he didn't quit. Winter nights were freezing, but he trained. Summer days were long, but he trained. His hands grew blistered. His arms grew strong. Slowly, he learned. One evening, an old miner approached with a broken pickaxe. "You think you can fix this?" Thomas swallowed hard. "I'll try." He fixed it. Not perfectly, but well enough that the miner returned with 2 more tools the next week. Soon miners across the village began knocking on his shed door. He charged just enough to survive. His reputation grew quietly. By 22, he built a new kind of pickaxe, stronger, sharper, balanced. He developed his own technique, heating metal longer, beating it more times, cooling it slowly instead of fast. When the mine supervisors tested it, they were stunned. "This will last twice as long," one muttered. "Maybe more," another whispered. They ordered 40. That single order changed everything. Thomas moved from the shed to a larger workshop. He hired a local orphan boy, James, giving him training and wages. Together they created tools that spread to nearby towns. For the first time in his life, Thomas felt hope. But life never allows an easy path. In 1836, a storm broke the sky open. Rain hammered the village. Wind tore roofs apart. Thomas rushed to his workshop, but nature was merciless. The roof collapsed. Water flooded in. Wood cracked. Tools rusted instantly. His entire inventory, months of work, was destroyed within minutes. His workers looked at him, expecting him to fall apart. His mother wept, believing the curse of poverty had returned. But Thomas stood silently in the ruins, breathing deeply. His voice was steady. "The fire isn't gone. It's just moved inside us." The next morning he began rebuilding with his bare hands. No roof, no money, no sleep. Just grit, pain, and a powerful sense of duty. The villagers, inspired by his resilience, joined him. Within 2 weeks, the workshop stood taller and stronger than before. Even old rivals respected him now. "This man," they said, "cannot be broken." At 29, Thomas repeated his earlier brilliance. He invented a new mining lantern, one that didn't blow out, one that used thicker glass, one that protected workers in dangerous tunnels. It became a necessity in every mine in northern England. Wealthy coal companies placed huge orders. Thomas expanded again, this time opening a full manufacturing building with 50 workers. Every worker received fair wages, something unheard of in that era. Thomas believed no one should live like his father did. By 40, Thomas was running one of the largest tool factories in Yorkshire. But he wasn't done. His mind was always searching, always hungry for improvement. He noticed how dangerous mines were. Workers died because wooden beams supporting the tunnels were weak. So Thomas studied engineering. Books borrowed, carried, slept on. He designed reinforced beams that could withstand cave-ins. His beams saved hundreds of lives. Soon the government invited him to propose improvements for tunnels across the country. He traveled, lectured, trained workers, and transformed mining safety forever. By 50, Thomas Elridge, once a barefoot boy pushing coal carts, became a respected businessman, innovator, and builder of a better world. But he remained humble. He still lived modestly, still visited the mines, still looked workers in the eyes, and said, "You matter." In his later years, he built housing for miners, opened a school, and founded a small hospital. He wanted no child to grow up the way he did. He donated more wealth than he kept. When people asked him how he rose from nothing, he always answered, "I never believed poverty was my destiny. I believed it was my beginning." At 72, after a lifetime of discipline, hardship, and service, Thomas passed away peacefully in the same village where he was born. Thousands attended his funeral, miners, workers, families, all carrying tools he once forged. His story became a legend, whispered across Yorkshire. The boy who entered darkness and came out carrying light. His legacy carved one truth into the heart of every generation. Greatness does not start with wealth. Greatness starts with hunger. Pain shapes you. Discipline saves you. Courage elevates you. And your story is never truly over until you decide it is.